Hello and welcome to another Kangaroo English Daily Digest. My name is Christian and today is Wednesday. Best day of the week. In today's Daily Digest, I'm going to try and tell a little bit of a story, create a narrative. Hopefully I can piece together all of this information I have. Let's see. But I'm going to start with a joke. Okay, so a guy goes for an interview as a Spanish public servant. Okay, so he goes into this building, then he sits down, and the interviewer says, "Hello, good morning. Please tell me a little bit about yourself." And the guy says, "Well, I want to get this job in the Spanish public service because I've just come out of the army. I did 4 tours in Iraq and it was really hard. So now I just want a normal job." And the interviewer says, "Oh my God, Iraq, that must have been very difficult." And the guy says, "Yeah, it was difficult. The injections they gave me before I went, they meant that I developed a lot of allergies. So for example, I'm allergic to caffeine. I can't drink coffee." And the interviewer says, "Oh, gee, that's terrible. I love coffee." And the guy said, Yeah, I know. And also, when I was in Iraq, there was a roadside bomb, unfortunately, that exploded and completely blew off my testicles." I have no testicles now. And the interviewer says, "Oh my God, that's really awful. I'm so sorry to hear that." Well, anyway, listen, look, I've heard enough. Congratulations, you've got the job. And the guy says, "Yes, fantastic." And the interviewer says, "Okay, so this office is open from 8 o'clock until 4 o'clock. But you can come in at about 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock, no problems." And the guy says, "Well, what do you mean? I thought you were open from 8 until 4. And he says, Yeah, but we spend the first half of the day just drinking coffee and scratching our balls, so you don't need to come in for that." So true. Spanish public service. Okay, so now where am I going with this? Okay, so how's my story going to? Well, here, I have to make a little segue now. So imagine if you went to, if you're a soldier and you went to war. One of the benefits about being a soldier is you get free dental care. You get to go to the dentist for free and the doctor for free, and so this brings us to today's word of the day, which is this: amalgamate. Amalgamate. It's one word, okay, but I put it on 2 lines. Put it on 2 lines so you can see clearly the origin of the word. Okay, amalgamate. Now, what does it mean? Okay, so it's a verb, so you can use it in the present. I amalgamate every day. In the past, I amalgamated yesterday. In the future, I will amalgamate. And it means to bring things together into one. So you can have 2 companies that amalgamate together. Then you can have, like for example, Seat and Volkswagen. You could amalgamate your personal life and your work life. You can amalgamate them. That's not a good idea, but you could do it, right? So amalgamating is about bringing things together. And if you've ever been to the dentist, then when you have a filling in your tooth, so you have a cavity or a hole in your tooth, a cavity normally, or maybe if your dentist is very posh, you might call it a carie. Ooh. So you need a filling. You need to fill the hole, and one of the options for a filling is an amalgam filling, which are those, they're like those metallic colored. So you have various options. Amalgam fillings are made out of a mix of mercury and tin, I think copper, I don't know, some different metals, okay? So that's one option. And no, the evidence says that they probably don't cause cancer. Probably. Okay, so you can have an amalgam filling. You could have a porcelain filling, which are very durable and don't stain, but they're very expensive. You could even have these fillings. They're made of glass. They're called glass iosomer fillings or glass iosomer fillings. Now, these glass fillings are really good for children because although they only last for 5 years, they release fluoride, which protects the teeth as the children are growing, right? So these glass fillings are really good. They're better than the amalgams, which is an amalgam of copper and zinc. Now we're going to move into children. So we're talking about children's teeth and moving into children, because I've made a lot of videos talking about accent and pronunciation, and at the beginning of all of my accent and pronunciation videos, I always say, listen, you're not ever going to lose your accent, so don't waste your time trying. You want to work on your pronunciation, you want to have all of the correct sounds in English, but don't waste your time trying to sound like an American, for example, right? Now, and it's my fault. I've said the science proves this, but I've never actually talked about the science, and so today's an opportunity to do that. And so this is one of the most well-known studies about why it's very difficult for an adult to lose their accent. Basically impossible to lose your accent or to sort of imitate other accents. So first I'll tell you about how they do the experiment. So they get little babies, and they have a person who sits here on this side, and then on this side they have this teddy bear that does this little performance, right? So the baby's looking at this person, but what they really want to do is look over at the teddy bear doing the performance, okay? So it's like a head turning thing, right? So what they do is they get this person to make a sound, like, for example, la 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 la, and then when this person changes the sound to ra, so they say instead of saying la with an L, they say ra with a then when they say that, the bear goes, so the baby looks that way. So the baby very quickly learns that when they hear that different sound, if they look that way, they're going to see a little performance. So they're training the children to listen for that sound. Now, here's what's really interesting, and this is an example of how this accent works. Accent works in the brain. So a lot of speakers, for example, of Japanese, there's no difference between la and ra. And so when the babies are less than 6 months old, their brains are very plastic. So they are open to hearing all of the sounds in language. So they hear la, they hear ra, they hear all of them. So they're very good at turning their head. They're la, 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 ra. Ooh, teddy bear. La, 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 ra. But in their day-to-day lives, these babies, they don't hear that ra, because the parents don't make the ra. So their brains forget the ability to distinguish that sound and even to produce that sound. And so after 6 months, between 6 months and 12 months, when the person goes ra, the baby doesn't look, because it literally cannot hear the difference. And this is some research by Patricia Kuhl. And I'm afraid I don't have more time to get into this because we're up to 10 minutes. But I hope you enjoyed today's Daily Digest. Don't try to lose your accent. It's beautiful.